Oh, here's Joe Rogan's controversy. He found himself in hot water. Let's see.
Living in now, and that's L.A. and that's New York, and that's a lot of places that got fucked up by incompetent people.
I don't know. I just feel safer knowing, like,
Pull this microphone with your face.
I feel safer knowing that Trump is in office.
I do too.
Dude, who is this guy? Who is this guy?
I like feel great about it. Like I just like.
What I
thank
don't
God.
feel safer is right now they're launching missiles into
That's
Russia.
fucked up. Yeah.
How are you allowed to do that when you're on the way out? Like the people don't want you to be there anymore. There should be like some sort of a pause for like significant actions that could potentially start World War III.
Someone in the chat saying he's the producer of Lean Back. His name is Scott Storch. He's a famous legendary music producer. Okay. Glad that, we got the top intellectual minds on this case. They're gonna fix the Russia situation.
Maybe that would be a good thing that we would like to avoid from a dying former president.
Mm-hmm.
It's the whole thing is nuts.
I mean, look, I don't know shit about politics.
Zelensky says Putin is terrified. Fuck you, man. Fuck you people. You fucking people are about to start World War III.
Like, people say I'm pro-Russia for my criticisms of some of the actions that Ukraine has taken on in this process, but like, fuck you mean? Like, what are they supposed to do, brother? What the fuck? He's not wrong. No, I think once again, this is entirely in the hands of the United States. But of course, never Americans who are jingoistic and Western chauvinists always discount America's influence in this process. Okay? They'll only do it when they're doing it on like partisan lines, to turn around and say like, oh, Biden is such a fucking old dumbass for doing this. Like, fuck you people. When they're talking about like Ukrainians. Listen, Ukrainians understandably have a right not only to defend themselves, but to rid their borders of a Russian invasion. But if the situation on the ground is untenable, the way I analyze everything is how like America's actions in this process, allowing Ukraine to strike into Russian territory, for example, will this actually de-escalate? Will this actually be able to give Ukraine more of an opportunity to push back the Russian annexation, or will it not? I don't think it's I don't think it's the Ukrainian people's fault, man. I feel like there's a more responsible party here,
Yeah, it's crazy.
Russia fired a missile today.
I feel like
they fired an intercontinental ballistic missile for the first time ever. It's the first time one of those has ever been used.
that's insanity.
It's fucking insanity because those intercontinental ballistic missiles can have nukes on them. This one didn't, but if it does, the whole world changes. And it changes because of the military-industrial complex, and it changes because of the money that's going to Ukraine, and it changes because the outgoing president or whoever the fuck is actually running the country has decided to do something fucking insane.
Yeah,
fucking insane. And we're all sitting there watching it, and people are cheering it on. CNN was saying,
is it possible that you can talk about Romania's heading candidate, which is pro-Russia and anti-Semite, plus supports legionary movement? Yeah, I don't know what the fuck is going on in Romania, but we'll dive into it in a little bit.
and like, finally, see what their headline was about Zelensky about Biden giving Zelensky the ability to use long-range missiles. U.S. made long-range. It's not like nobody knows where they came from. It's not like nobody knows we've been funding this. It's a proxy war. The whole thing is fucking insane. It's insane. Come to the negotiation table. Sit down. Work this out. Stop killing everybody.
Yeah, I think the real responsible party that is Zelensky internally has obviously internal pressure from people to the right of him that want him to never entertain any sort of ceasefire prospect. Okay? But if America was like, hey, we got to pack this shit up because Donald Trump is going to be significantly more devastating, then Zelensky, alongside China and Russia, would come to the ceasefire negotiation, would come to the table to broker some kind of agreement. The issue still, I think, the problem still here is America's involvement. That they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about Ukrainian emancipation. They don't give a shit about like Ukrainians not dying. And I'm willing to bet that they don't even care if Ukraine gets fucking nuked. That's a dangerous prospect. it's something that I noticed early on when, like I said, John Kirby very clearly was like, yeah, if they use a nuke, it's going to be a baby nuke. Wait, what? You're a horrible person. Fuck you. That's all they said. I unbanned them. I don't think this person is going to actually respond with what, took place in their minds, at least. That's crazy. Why'd you ban? I unbanned them because I want to see what the fuck they have to say so that I can be helpful. But I think the mods did the right thing by banning them, specifically because they're not helping themselves. I think they're just mentally ill. They banned them because they don't want that person to that person that's probably going through a mental health episode to say stuff that puts them in the crosshairs unfairly.
U.S. allows Ukraine to use long-range missiles. So what did they say? Someone had said that, like, CNN was saying that it was a good thing, which I think is how? How has the left gone so far crazy that they think it's a good thing to launch missiles? That's what's scary about life is, like, you don't want to pay attention to that shit. You just want to live your life. You want to just be carefree.
Several officials even suggested that Mr. Biden could return nuclear weapons to Ukraine. So U.S. and European officials are discussing deterrence as a possible security guarantee for Ukraine, such as stockpiling a conventional arsenal sufficient to strike a punishing blow if Russia violates a ceasefire. Several officials even suggested that Mr. Biden could return nuclear weapons to Ukraine that were taken from it after the fall of the Soviet Union. That would be an instant and enormous deterrent, but such a step would be complicated and have serious implications. Good Lord. I mean, it's the HasanAbi doctrine. What a terrifying prospect for the future. Ukraine's going to be like, yeah, we're going to give nuclear weapons to Cuba after this. I feel like this might not be the best time to offer Ukraine nuclear weapons, but I don't know. When you got a third of the country under permanent annexation by Russian forces.
Free and have fun and do the thing that you're passionate about. And meanwhile, the world is burning. And
you
just
can't do
hoping
anything about it.
doesn't
It's
get
like,
you.
at that high level, it's like there's nothing.
Well, we can. We voted Trump in, and
Yeah,
his idea is to stop all this shit, and hopefully he can do that.
Yeah.
But, man, fuck. We got 60 more days until Trump gets in, or whatever it is. How many days is it, Jamie? But who knows? Maybe once he gets in, they'll ramp it up. Who knows? Maybe they'll sabotage his administration. That's what's even more scary.
Yeah. They'll sabotage his administration. Yeah. Trump is Mr. Peace. They're just going to sabotage his best interest here.
People don't want him in power. And the people that are in power don't want to leave power, and they'll try every way they can to keep it. 60 days from today. All right.
On the news.
60 days.
Keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah. Just hope Putin understands what's going on as well, and Zelensky doesn't do anything stupid. But saying that Putin's terrified, God damn it.
It's like you're trying to, like, tug the tail of a fucking sleeping
dragon.
Dragons.
Yeah. Also, Zelensky, can I get a drug test?
I think Klitschko, here it is. Vladimir Klitschko calls Joe a Putin apologist over Ukraine comments.
I listened to your latest podcast. I'm sending you this video to let you know that I disagree.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. It's so funny that everyone is right-wing. Like, virtually every side of this is just like right-wing guys yelling at one another. Every corner of the planet is just like filled to the brim with reactionary people. And now they've gotten so much power and they're fighting amongst themselves that they're like eating each other as well. It's so funny.
Talk about these American weapons.
Like, dude's rocking a 9-line shirt and everything. Like, he's just, oh my God.
Being sent to Ukraine, which you believe will lead to the Third World War. So, let me tell you that you're repeating Russian propaganda. Putin's Russia is in trouble, so they want to scare you and people like you. His war was supposed to last 3 days. It has lasted 3 years, thanks to the heroism and sacrifice of us Ukrainians. So you're using the only weapon that Putin really intends to use, propaganda. And this weapon really weakens our democracies. Putin's Russia wants to destroy Ukraine quietly. They want America to stay quiet, not great, but quiet. A great America is not an America that abandons countries that defend freedom with their lives. In short, you see, I have quite a few points of difference. If
I mean, Russia probably pays Joe. No, dude, he's just a fucking run-of-the-mill dumbass. Like, I think Joe, when he talks about the way he's talking about it is like definitely more spicy than the average person. But I think the average American is just like, why the fuck are we giving Ukraine money? Why are we just giving them weapons and now Russia's going to use a nuke? This sucks. Fix the fucking potholes. Americans will vote for a fascist if they believe that the fascist is going to fucking literally reduce the price of eggs, okay? A guy that says that they're going to deport 20 million people. They don't give a shit. So for them, for most Americans, I think, Agent Hassan Pikersky, congratulations on heroic mission to corrupt mind of American. Great success. Yeah, I don't think that like, also the war is not popular, especially in Europe. The far right are going on an anti-NATO in their campaign. Yeah, but they're not going to be anti-NATO. Like, look at Meloni. Italian fascism and Italian, like European fascism in the aftermath of World War II was directly propped up by NATO. They might engage in somewhat pro-Russian sentiment or say, we got to stop this war, we got to stop this war. But ultimately, they're not going to say no to NATO. And the NATO interest in this is Ukraine keeps pushing back on Russian forces, no matter how many Ukrainians die in the process.
If you invite me on your podcast, we could discuss them like free men.
He's doing the millennial pause. The far right are great to package themselves with left-leaning messaging only to do the complete opposite of socialism because they only believe that people deep down prefer socialism at the end of the day. Yeah, I mean, if there was there was another guy who was, there were two guys that presented themselves as leftists early on, or at least like invoked the left-wing populist economic sentiment, while they just had an underlying nationalism that they wanted to actually push for. Really, Adolf Hitler and old Benito